No society can surely be flourishing and happy, of which the far greater part of the members are poor and miserable. Man is an animal that makes bargains. No other animal does this. No dog exchanges bones with another. Consumption is the sole end and purpose of all production, and the interest of the producer ought to be attended to, only so far as it may be necessary for promoting that of the consumer. Labor was the first price, the original purchase money that was paid for all things. It was not by gold or by silver, but by labor, that all wealth of the world was originally purchased. It is not very unreasonable that the rich should contribute to the public expense, not only in proportion to their revenue but something more than in that proportion. What everything really costs to those who want to get it is work and the pain he must win to get it. What can be added to the happiness of a man who is in health, out of debt, and has a clear conscience? Every man is rich or poor according to the degree in which he can afford to enjoy the necessaries, conveniences, and amusements of human life. The real price of everything, what everything really costs to the man who wants to acquire it, is the toil and trouble of acquiring it. With the greater part of rich people, the chief enjoyment of riches consists in the parade of riches. Science is the great antidote to the poison of enthusiasm and superstition. The first thing you have to know is yourself. A man who knows himself can step outside himself and watch his own reactions like an observer. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own self-interest. We address ourselves not to their humanity but to their self-love, and never talk to them of our own necessities, but of their advantages. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. People of the same trade seldom meet together, even for merriment and diversion, but the conversation ends in a conspiracy against the public, or in some contrivance to raise prices. Virtue is more to be feared than vice, because its excesses are not subject to the regulation of conscience. Wherever there is great property, there is great inequality. How selfish soever man may be supposed, there are evidently some principles in his nature, which interest him in the fortune of others, and render their happiness necessary to him, though he derives nothing from it, except the pleasure of seeing it. The wages of labor are the encouragement of industry, which, like every other human quality, improves in proportion to the encouragement it receives. It was not by gold or by silver, but by labor, that all the wealth of the world was originally purchased. Virtue is excellence, something uncommonly great and beautiful, which rises far above what is vulgar and ordinary. A nation is not made wealthy by the childish accumulation of shiny metals, but it enriched by the economic prosperity of its people. There is no art which one government sooner learns of another than that of draining money from the pockets of the people. In ease of body and peace of mind, all the different ranks of life are nearly upon the same level, and the beggar who suns himself by the highway, possesses that security which kings are fighting for. All for ourselves, and nothing for other people, seems, in every age of the world, to have been the vile maxim of the masters of mankind. The real tragedy of the poor is the poverty of their aspirations. Adventure upon all the tickets in the lottery, and you lose for certain, and the greater the number of your tickets the nearer your approach to this certainty. The great source of both the misery and disorders of human life seems to arise from overrating the difference between one permanent situation and another. Resentment seems to have been given us by nature for a defense, and for a defense only. It is the safeguard of justice and the security of innocence. Every man, as long as he does not violate the laws of justice, is left perfectly free to pursue his own interest in his own way and to bring both his industry and capital into competition with those of any other man. The furious behavior of an angry man is more likely to exasperate us against himself than against his enemies. The poor man's son, whom heaven has in its anger visited with ambition, goes beyond admiration of palaces to envy. He labors all his life to outdo his competitors, only to find the end that the rich are no happier than the poor in the things that really matter.